to the As Vice podcast. I'm one of your hosts.
It's a long ass there, wasn't it?
I just want to give you a bit of a shine,
Super
mate.
long ass.
Give you a bit of a rub, give it a bit of a shine.
I love it.
Cool. I am Vice Wolfpack, one of your hosts.
And I as we are.
I thought the intro to the first one was a bit unprofessional.
I just like to change stuff up as much as I can when I'm on these podcasts, mate.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed yet again on this episode to have our wonderful friend with us. It is Smiz. How are you doing?
Not too bad. It's like I never left.
Oh, exactly.
You can do a better intro than that. Come on, mate.
I can't hype myself up. You know this about me. I let other people do it, and they build me up, hype me up, and it's like, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Fair enough.
It's like this. You've hyped up. You're like, we've got a special guest. Special guest is me. It's like
the special guest couldn't make it again.
Yeah, we're telling you.
It's like when you're younger and you're like, oh, we got a visitor, and it's like, it's your nan. You know who you've seen.
I don't know who my nan was.
Moving
on. Guys, if you haven't already, this is part 2 of our already growing wrestling podcast from our episode 1. So please go back and listen to that. That will be episode 3. This is episode 4, and we're just continuing on from our wrestling podcast with just a bunch of questions, our love of wrestling, and a little bit about AAW. So we're going to move into the next question, which is your favorite match of all time.
Favorite match of all time. I didn't use him in my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
So my favorite match.
Ric Flair.
No, definitely not.
Ric Flair v Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That Flair match where Big Show punched him in the face.
Ric Flair's retirement match.
Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens at NXT TakeOver.
Very good choice.
NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I think it was, the first one, is one of my favourite pay-per-views. I just think that is a whopper card from start to finish. It's prime NXT era.
Yeah.
It's got, I think, the debut of Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
It's Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, against Breeze.
Yeah.
Oh, I recognise that name.
Yeah.
Meow.
I just think that's such a good pay-per-view, and that match just...
That wasn't the Nakamura debut one, was it?
I don't think so. I think
that was
that
the
Chicago or something?
I think that was the next one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, anyway.
I'll have to look it up, but it is that match. Balor versus Owens. Balor's already got the title at this point. He won it at Beast in the East.
Yeah.
So it's the rematch, and
What a pay-per-view.
it's just, there's just so many moments in that match. I haven't watched it for a little while, but it just stuck with me, that thing. There's Kevin Owens going for a run-up to hit Finn Balor. I think he's pinned between the sort of apron and the ring post with a ladder.
Yeah.
So Kevin goes for a run-up, and he runs up and then just gets right next to him and then just tonks him in the face. It's just little moments like that. And I think back when you said, like, what's your favorite, have a think about what your favorite match is. And I was like, actually, as much as I enjoyed watching wrestling growing up, I can't remember a match that I would say is, because I had like a couple of pay-per-views growing up.
Yeah.
Like even like the ones I had, like Survivor Series 97, where Austin's hit by a car. There's not really anything from that.
It was me. I did it for The Rock.
I did have Invasion taped, but you know, there's a match in that which I like for different reasons. But, you know,
What match is that?
Rhino versus whoever he was against.
Who was it? I can't. Should we Google it and find out who he was against?
I'm going to say let's move on. Anyway, back to the TakeOver match.
That match, the TakeOver match, is just... If I had to say to someone, watch a match to modern wrestling, to show what it can be, it'd be that one.
I like that. If it had to be an older match, you were trying to show someone who's never watched wrestling before, what would you recommend? Because that just gave me a really good question.
Invasion match.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. That's the thing. I can't think... I think it's just such a different product now. That if you went to someone like, this is The Rock versus... Probably Rock Stone Cold, actually.
Yeah.
One of the WrestleMania
Around their
ones.
WrestleMania bouts.
But if you showed them that, and then they said, I like this wrestling thing, I'm going to sit down and watch WWE. What the hell is this? It's such a different... Why is there a giant holographic man? I think it's just such a different thing. But yeah, probably Rock Austin. I think that's...
Rock Hogan, gotta be. Not in terms of wrestling, but in terms of sheer star power.
I feel like though with the Rock and Hogan match, it was more of the kind of build up. Like a lot of it's just like they didn't really do anything. They stood there for genuinely 10 minutes and didn't wrestle.
That was it. It was star power.
But that reminds me of the Nakamura Sami Zayn match. Like they didn't do anything for like the first 5 minutes. They just stood there and just were in awe of what was about to happen, which obviously then proceeded to be an incredible match.
Yeah.
Like, that was phenomenal. I think that's a really good choice.
Yeah.
Mine is between two, and they're both WrestleMania bouts. One is the Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania for the title. It was just, again, the combination of those two competitors just trying to go at the athleticism in it. The storytelling was just amazing. Obviously, it has the shooting star press botch, but how Angle made that work. But yeah, even how Brock Lesnar got up, did his finish, and won the match is still unbelievable.
That's a hell of a botch.
And again, even like Kurt Angle, who's not been in the business for a long time, still managed to continue the match. Like he's just like, oh, you missed it. What do I do? He just rolled him up for a cover. He wasn't even expecting Lesnar to kick out. He just thought, I've got to try and salvage this. It just had everything for me.
It's kind of just showing when stuff doesn't go to plan, how they adapt and how they adapted carrying the match.
Unbelievable. But the winner is the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match. I think it's at WrestleMania 25.
Is that with or without Triple H? No, Triple H wasn't.
No,
that was Triple H versus. I forget.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Hell in a Cell, which actually was an incredible match. I think that was the end of an era match, wasn't it, or whatever. But for me, that one has it all. It was the storytelling throughout. Again, two of my favourites, Taker and Michaels, and the duality between the kind of like good versus evil was so there.
Was that with his descending from above entrance in his white coat?
I think it was. That was the first one, because the second one was a bit different because he was so determined to fight him again, wasn't he? Like that was the whole Rumble era where he like got kicked out because all he wanted to do was face Taker. He was champion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then he cost him the belt, and then they had their bout. But yeah, just the meeting of the two. I remember it because I remember watching it the first time and just being blown away. And then I went back probably about 2-3 years ago because I got the network again, and I just went on like a binge of just like old wrestling matches and then like modern NXT ones and stuff. And I went back and just watched it, and I just remember being in awe of the whole thing. It was just the timing was perfect. The storytelling, and it had everything. And then that final moment where Taker hits the tombstone and wins the match was just phenomenal. I just don't think I've been drawn in by a match quite like that. So for me, that's my favourite match of all time.
Mine's easy. Mine's easy. First ever match I watched: Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys at Royal Rumble 2000 in a table match.
Nice.
Yeah.
So good. Imagine being a kid. Like, I don't even know how old I was. 2000, so I would have at least been 10.
Royal Rumble 2000, so that would have been January, presumably 2000.
I would have been at least 10.
About that.
But I definitely didn't watch it when I was 10. I must have been like at least 2 years after it, I reckon. Like, I must have been older.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, I don't know. But it was just such a match. Like, watching that match, those two teams with tables, ladders, chairs, everything just over the ring, you're just watching it like, are they not dead? Like, what? Why is he flipping over? What?
Yeah.
What's going on? And I watched that match and I was just like, this is amazing. I love this. Then you watch the rest of the Royal Rumble, and it had some great matches in as well. I think it was the Royal Rumble obviously itself was great. I'm pretty sure there was.
Who won that one?
I think it was a Rock.
Yeah.
I think it was a Rock Big Show one.
Yeah.
And you had like Kurt Angle was out. I think it was it Kurt Angle's debut?
His was Survivor Series 1997 because I've got that was the video.
Was that the one he fought Eddie, or was that the one? No, sorry, Rey Mysterio.
No, it was. It might have been. There was definitely a debut, but I don't know if it was.
Let me have a look.
It might have been Taz. Someone there was. It was.
There was something that was.
I think Taz came over and dominated. I think it was Taz versus Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle got dominated by Taz because Taz was new and was coming over, and he was supposed to be the next big thing.
The suplex machine.
Or something like that. Yeah, and obviously there was the Mae Young incident, Royal Rumble 2000. There was a few other moments.
But that match, that match obviously was one of the first that you remember watching. And then like, was that the kind of style that really got you into it? Because obviously it's two crazily good tag teams. Obviously the Hardy Boys.
That hit me with the Hardys. Like, I always loved the Hardys as a kid.
Yeah.
And then so you had the Dudleys as well, who were great in their own way, just different. And
yeah,
you just can't argue though. You can't argue with that kind of match as like a top team match. I was always into tag team wrestling as a kid.
Yeah.
Probably because of that match. So I would say that's the match.
I love that. No, I think it's a really, really great pick. Okay, so obviously we've gone through Mount Rushmore, which was in the episode before this, but now we're going to go on to your favorite wrestler of all time. So it doesn't have to be someone who's in your Mount Rushmore. It could be someone who is just resonates with you in a different way, or just has a different styling or something that you prefer. But like, if I said to you at this moment, who is your favorite wrestler of all time? Who would you say is Smiz?
I would still have to pick The Rock.
Yeah?
I think there's been different eras of wrestling. So when I was a child, when I was a teenager, when I was an adult, and there's been different times where I've gone like, oh, Finn Balor is my favourite wrestler at the moment. But if you went and took the average, it'd still be The Rock.
Yeah.
I think all those times, as the reasons we mentioned on the previous episode, I think just his staying power and the fact he's still relevant now.
Yeah.
Like, he's not my favourite wrestler now because he doesn't wrestle anymore.
Yeah, sure.
But overall, yeah, still The Rock.
Nice. Azrael, who's your favourite wrestler of all time?
Favourite wrestler of all time is hard, man.
It's a tricky question, isn't it? Because they
I
might
love
not be
everyone.
on you. They might not be on your Mount Rushmore.
Because I don't think they're the best wrestler, but mine's between three.
It doesn't have to be like
three,
who
so
would
it's
normally
between-
be perceived as like the best wrestler. It's who is genuinely your
It's
favourite
between
wrestler.
Rock, Sting, and Jeff Hardy. It might be Jeff Hardy just because he was probably the first guy I saw.
Oh, man, that's
There's
a
some-
great choice.
And it's just at that age, seeing some, I think he was like 18 or 19 years old at the time. He wasn't old himself, was he?
No.
Yeah.
Flipping around, jumping off of things. Like, it was just, that sort of resonates with you as a child. So I think it's got to be Jeff Hardy, to be honest.
He probably had a massive cultural impact on you as well as like a person growing up too.
Yeah, 100%. So
Did you wear like the sleeves?
no, I never had the sleeves. My parents would never buy me the sleeves.
He's tall and gangly like me.
But no, like, it has to be him because he's had, even every time he comes back, I still love him and I still think like, oh, it's great to have him back. Even now, he doesn't really do anything, but it's like,
He just got
I was
just
going to
got
say,
let go, didn't he?
got
Yeah.
let go again, didn't he?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
He'll
if
be
he
in
came
AEW
back,
soon.
I'd still love it. It'd
Yeah.
still be like, this is incredible. It's great to see him because he's going to do something mental.
I think he's always like he stayed quite consistent for his career. Obviously, he's had his demons and stuff and his battles and that. Like his Sting match that he had at TNA.
Yeah.
But like,
Let's not talk about that one.
yeah. But he's always been really great as a performer. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't show signs of wear like that obvious, does he?
No.
In terms of his like overall athletic ability. And I actually think his whole like Willow thing I thought was really
Willow's
compelling.
good, yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I'm very surprised that WWE didn't try and do something with him.
Yeah,
but-
well, I've heard that like he never really approached like Vince, so like
Yeah.
he'd have all these ideas because he said that Matt was the idea guy, and that he just never had the confidence to go to him.
Yeah,
But maybe he'll go to
something like
AEW and bring that across. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's, even when the Hardys came back,
Yeah. Oh, that pop at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
that's secret because everybody kind of thought something was happening, but then they were on the night before
Yeah.
at another show.
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah, it was a Ring of Honor
and
show.
then they went straight to WWE and was like, it was just huge. Like, it was such a great. It was,
that
it was a
baseline kicker.
secret,
Yeah.
but at the same time, people kind of thought it was happening.
Yeah.
They
I
didn't
think
know.
people were fully prepared for it because it was the New Day hosting, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's now a fatal four-way tag team, and they were
Yeah.
starting to walk down. I think everyone was kind of like, okay, we're okay with this idea of the New Day, and then their theme hits, and
Yeah.
So good.
again,
It was
crowd
huge.
goes mental.
Yeah,
Yeah,
goosebumps.
that was
Still got
amazing.
Goosebumps. So yeah, Jeff Hardy.
Again, this is a hard one, and
Yeah.
I think I've gone into detail in terms of like favorite wrestlers in the Mount Rushmore kind of point, and it is controversial, but honestly, my favorite wrestler of all time is Brock Lesnar.
That's fair.
I just think it's like I love, you know me, I love something a bit different, and I think Lesnar revolutionized the industry because he brought like legitimate fighting over to the company when he went off and did his UFC. But even when he was like in his prime, when he was like a wrestler, like quote unquote wrestler, in like his sort of 2003 run, I just found him amazing. Like his athleticism, a guy his size and weight to try and hit a shooting star press is just beyond insane.
Try and hit the suits and stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes he landed it. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, there's videos of him nailing it.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
To even attempt it.
Yeah, and again, like his his presence is just unbelievable. And like even now, like when he's come back to like WWE and done like little bits and stuff, I still find him incredible. Like I know there's a lot of like, oh, he just hogs the belt and goes away or whatever, but like I would do the same. Like if he's like making it legitimate, like I would be like, I'm only gonna defend my belt when the money's right. I only want to like appear when I want to appear and stuff. Like it's everybody would be a Brock Lesnar if they had the choice.
100%.
Like he's exactly how you would like be, and he was who I would play as in a video game. Like, I would want to be the guy who goes around and crushes everybody and is the monster and he can do athletic stuff and be like physically dominating and imposing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and I find his character work really good. Recently, obviously, he's come back and he's like he's doing the stuff with Roman and stuff, and he's like come back. He's like all in his country get up and stuff, and he has like the cowboy hat and stuff. Like he's been able to really evolve his character, but like not evolve his character.
Yeah.
And he's always come back different and fresh. He's not stayed the same.
I'll be a little upset when he does win both titles, but
yeah,
it is what it is. You know?
Yeah, but then like who else is good enough to do it?
I just don't think anybody needs to have both of them. That's just what it is. It's like, I'm bored. I want the titles.
Yeah.
It's the trouble with modern WWE, and I think, as you alluded to sort of on the previous episode with Undertaker, and you're listing 10 guys who feasibly, you could have put the belt on them at any time, and you would not have had a trouble believing it.
Yeah.
If suddenly Kurt Angle wins the title, Chris Jericho wins it, that's
feasible. You're
it's
like,
feasible.
oh yeah,
Like, okay,
that's cool.
this is
That makes sense.
Whereas now with modern WWE, there's only a few real people who you'd say is a challenger.
Yeah.
And if they suddenly,
Yeah.
if Roman suddenly say drop the belt to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like someone.
Cesaro.
Sorry,
He's a good wrestler.
A good wrestler, which you
count
could.
He's not a
you could
star,
believe,
is he?
but he's not.
I hate
up
to say
there.
it, yeah, but he's not. It's like
Yeah.
you think of like who they've had recently as their champions, right? And then you look them back and you go back onto like your Undertaker era, right? So you look at like Drew McIntyre. Is he the same as The Rock? No. Bobby Lashley. Is he the same like Stone Cold? No. Like you think of it in terms of that way, like they're just not legitimized in the same way. But the thing is, they can do
at least
it.
Drew McIntyre was legitimized though. I think he
unfortunately was just in the pandemic era.
They did
so
him.
he was screwed.
They did Drew McIntyre's title run perfectly. He was just unlucky that it was.
Yeah, he won it at the wrong time.
It was
Yeah.
just a sad thing.
Yeah.
But they worked him up beautifully, and Brock Lesnar worked with him to push him
Yeah.
up. Like when he eliminated Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
that was huge because everyone, just had Brock Lesnar throwing everybody out, and we were all just like, this is boring now. This is the worst Royal Rumble ever.
Yeah.
And then Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre comes in, Ricochet pushes Brock Lesnar, and Drew McIntyre just
He nutshot him, didn't he?
and Drew McIntyre just kicks him
Claymore
out, and it's just
Yeah,
like
it's phenomenal.
it's huge. You're like, if Drew McIntyre doesn't win now,
And
what
again,
happens?
who put Drew McIntyre over? Your boy Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. If he's doing it right, I'm happy with him.
Yeah, but I always think he has though. Like I think he's taken opportunities the right way.
I
don't
didn't
think.
like him when he had the belt all the time, but I think that was just because I was like, just let somebody else use the belt.
Yeah, but then like who else would have been
It's-
as good? Do you know what I mean? Like
he obviously didn't want anyone to have a belt, otherwise he would have pushed him.
Well,
personally,
it's less you.
I wouldn't say no to
You
Lesnar,
end
would
up-
you?
You end up taking your frustrations out on how they've been booked and written with that character.
Yeah,
like
totally.
when Brock won the Rumble.
Yeah.
Part of me's like, oh, really? They're giving it to Brock? What's he going to do? And then it's like, actually, that wasn't his decision.
Yeah.
Because I think if they said, Brock, you're not winning, he would have either gone, okay, that's fine, I'll work with whoever, or he just gone, go no.
Yeah, because if someone says to you, like, if someone says to you, like, oh, you're going to win a Rumble, go, I don't think that's the right idea, actually.
That's exactly that's the Roman Reigns thing, isn't it? Like, is Roman Reigns really going to say no to like being the top guy, to having these opportunities? No,
He
you're
is
mad.
business,
Like
isn't he?
he's trying to make a future for himself and for his family.
Exactly.
And he also wants to. You want to be the best in the business. You're going to do what's right for business.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a massive fan of Reigns' latest reign.
We'll be talking about this when we get onto the most overrated.
Yeah,
wrestler.
totally. Yeah.
Definitely. But,
I'm cashing in that card separately.
Yeah. So I think for me it is Brock Lesnar. Again, I just find him super compelling. So this goes on to the next question, which is kind of similar, but I do think it deserves its own sort of question and its own explanation in its own right because it is separate. But like, who do you personally believe is the best technical wrestler of all time?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, well, there you go.
What do you want to say?
Why? Why is it Daniel Bryan for you?
It's just the way he can get you into any hold and just if you move around, he'll just get you into another hold.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like he has that just general wrestling skill that he can get you into anything, get out of anything. If he's upside down, he could probably still make you tap out. It's just like he just knows what he's doing, and you can just tell. He makes every match better because of what he does.
I mean, there probably are other technical wrestlers who are better.
100%, yeah.
Like probably someone like, just off the top of my head, like a Dean Malenko, who,
Oh yeah, sure.
and like
Yeah,
even say a Chris Jericho in his.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even the
Yeah.
sort of WWE himself built up Daniel Bryan to be like that, because when they had him against Randy Orton and Batista for the belt at WrestleMania 30, and they built it up like Orton's a very, I'd say he's a very jack of all trades, but still good and not, but he's very all rounder. That's
Yeah.
And Batista, who's a powerhouse and sort of and they've got that history working together, and you're going to have someone who thinks smarter, who's going to have to go for submissions,
I will
wear
admit,
down people.
That period of Daniel Bryan was the best bit of
The whole
best bit of WWE. I don't know how much of it was WWE and how much it was just Daniel Bryan being lucky with being pushed, but
Just
that was perfect.
Just be in the right place in the right time for the
love
fans, because they're going like, we want to get behind someone because we don't want to particularly see Batista.
Yeah, it worked out so well.
That guy, because he's
And even now, because he's in AEW now, isn't he? He's still doing the same thing. And he's doing,
His match against
still
Hangman
doing
Page
amazing.
was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And his match against Kenny Omega was phenomenal.
Because he's working with equally, let's say, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Could probably count them as pretty good technical wrestlers too.
Well,
Not
actually,
as
my
much.
choice is Kenny Omega.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So like, he's working with people who are just as good as him, and it's making the matches even better.
Yeah. I think so to justify Kenny Omega is that like I've never seen someone hit strikes so good. I just think it's unreal, like his ability, his technical ability. I mean, his matches against Okada are just incredible. And that's the thing as well. Like it's hard because when you talk about wrestling, conventionally WWE takes over a lot because it's the most popular. It's what people chat about. We're not noticing about. But then when I tried to think a little bit more broader with this one.
Yeah.
And for me it is Kenny Omega. I think Daniel Bryan is definitely my second. But I think Kenny Omega for me is I watch his matches and I'm just in awe. He always finds something different to do, and even it could be with storytelling, which you can link with technical ability.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega is just for me just one of the best. I mean, I look at another wrestler who's probably a bit underrated in terms of that, and Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best technical wrestlers you can probably see in the indie kind of scene.
He's good.
But the first name that popped into my head was.
But talking about Okada.
Okada as well.
Is incredible.
The best dropkick of all time.
Absolutely incredible. It's Tanahashi as well.
Tanahashi,
It's when you can make a relatively simple move like a clothesline just look like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And the Rainmaker is.
Yeah,
and if we're talking about people who I think, obviously from earlier you said, he's lanky, I like him. I'd be liking Chris Brooks.
Oh yeah, Chris Brooks as well.
He is everything I want to be.
There's a difference between 10-year-old Sam screaming that at someone and 25-year-old Sam.
Because I'm probably older than Chris Brooks.
Yeah. Again, you can really deep dive into. I mean, I put Cesaro up there as well.
Yes.
I just don't think he's really had much of an opportunity to show what he can kind of do.
It's just easier to talk about WWE wrestlers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sadly, it's the most easiest to notice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's what I mean. There probably are technical wrestlers who put Daniel Bryan to shame, and I know that's a statement, like a damning statement and quite a controversial one, but there probably are. But we just haven't seen enough of them in that situation to know actually they're quite good at this sort of.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna just go on a little bit. It's not written on here, but who do you think is the best promo of all time? The best talker. And this can be all around. Obviously, I know we talked a little bit about The Rock and stuff, and you Stone Colds and that. But is there anyone that
anyone other
I
than
don't
The
want
Rock?
to
Is
say,
anyone
I don't want to
other
say
than
WWE characters, but Bray Wyatt.
Really? Do you like Bray Wyatt?
I loved his promos.
Wow.
Because to go from Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt,
I think the tank with the Ferrari engine.
Be able to sell it when he did the Funhouse as well.
Yeah, he was so good. Yeah,
to do
he was
that,
really good.
and just to have that kind of difference in three characters that he had was just incredible.
Yeah. That's a really good. That's a
I
really
don't
good
want
show.
to go
actually.
for a WWE guy because
Well, he's not anymore, so you're
well,
right.
Yeah, technically,
Yeah.
but like, you know, it's easiest to see. I've seen more of it. Like,
And I think because it's so unique and different, I think that's what makes it a bit more special, isn't it? Yeah.
I think, like, the obvious answer is going to be like The Rock and Stone Cold, because even though Stone Cold, I would say, he wasn't as good a talker as The Rock, he still had the crowd listening to every word. The fact that the what chants
still happens. Yeah.
still happens. He didn't need to be. If you've got The Rock, who's like this Hollywood flash talker and sort of things like that, and you've got Austin, who's more like I wasn't going to say country bumpkin, but that's sort of
you said it, Rock, Stone Cold. Stevie said it.
I've got The Rock on my side. Sorry. See, I think like looking back and listening, I think like someone like Regal as GM. He's such a good talker.
Yeah.
Like, we were joking about it earlier, but just like, War Games! But you've got the crowd, like, hyping an announcement for a match from someone who's not in it. And it's just, like, you look at some of this thing, and he's just like, the pissed offness in his face, and he's sort of like, right, you lot. And you're like, oh, it's building up. And then just him.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
It's, there's when it was NXT TakeOver UK, or NXT UK take or whatever it was, and Pete Dunne attacks someone, and he's backstage like looking all sort of like, yeah, I've done this, and he sort of Triple H comes up to him, and he's sort of like, yeah, still, and the one person he's terrified of when he sees is William Regal, because he comes, he's like, right, you, and it's just that character, and I think when he's speaking in the ring, more so, sort of modern day Regal, less so like commissioner thing, when I think he was more of a. He
was very like script, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
It's sort of like King Regal era, where he's sort of.
I loved King Regal.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah,
it made sense. It's in his name.
It's in his name.
Yeah, I think Regal's up there.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that again you can naturally go to and lean to. I don't know whether I'd say they're like the best promo of all time, but like Jericho is always someone who's really resonated with me. Yeah. I think his style, like he's someone who's been able to adapt on the fly, change his character year after year after year after year, and always maintain a real solid, great promo. And I think he's just hella entertaining.
I remember when he came back to WWE, and he did for I think it was 3 weeks. He would just walk to the ring, not say anything, just walk around the ring. Everyone would cheer him, and then he walked off.
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
Then 3 weeks later, he'd just come back and say, "You're all pricks. I did nothing, and you cheered me."
His whole like when he came back and he was champion, he had the short hair, he had the trunks for the first time, and he would belittle people by talking like really overcomplicated words and
he
stuff.
walked like he shat himself.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And then he came back with like the list of Jericho, which again I think people sometimes forget like how amazing that was. Like that run was so good, so great. And then AEW, the bubbly, like he just went crazy on that. Le Champion, exactly. Like he's probably my favorite. Like he's one of my favorite of all time anyway. But like my favorite promo is probably Chris Jericho.
I think in terms of most entertaining wrestlers, he's up there.
Oh yeah,
just because
100%.
Yeah,
if you still knock a lion soul out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love him. So obviously we talked a little bit about it, but like the next question was like, do you still watch the product? So I guess that means like WWE in itself. But I think we kind of already answered that one, but we're saying fleeting. Kind of no, isn't it? Really,
generic no.
Like we were kind of like thinking about watching the Rumble, and then we just didn't, did we?
I'm a Raw blood.
Yeah. So we just kind of didn't bother.
We could have watched the women's Rumble, but the men's one we could have skipped.
I think I would have been annoyed with either.
Reading about it and stuff.
I think the women's one was better, but I think.
This kind of stems off from this then, right? So obviously social media has had a massive impact in the industry of wrestling. But like, do you think that you don't watch it as much now because you can literally go on your phone the next day and watch highlights on like YouTube or like Instagram?
Yeah, probably.
You can see people.
Like, I can see it straight away.
That's it.
Like, but I can see like New Japan stuff, so I can finally know who Okada is. Well, I know now, but like years ago, I had no clue who he is because I'm just like, well, it's not on.
But do you think that diminishes? Like, so for example, I was like, I'm not going to watch the Rumble because I can see who's won it literally when I wake up the next day. And then like watch highlights on YouTube. Does that stop you from watching that?
No, I think because like there was no build for us.
Yeah.
We didn't really care. There was no build for us. It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting anything good to happen, so we were just like, let's not bother. And it was on a Saturday night, where if it was on a Sunday night, I would have watched it. But
Yeah,
Saturday night, I
because
couldn't.
I think also modern wrestling watching, even WWE, AEW, regardless, it depends on what we're doing. Like, if
totally.
it's getting people together to watch it. I would not. You could have the best.
We should live stream on.
You could have the best pay-per-view ever and the hype. If it's like, I'm like, oh, are we watching it? And you're like, oh, I can't make it. I'm working the next day, or I can't get the time off, or no, I've already got plans, and so like, it's not held around Whitty's house.
Yeah.
who is to give him a bit of due, give him a bit of a shout out. I think he's also been why we stick with wrestling for
100%.
Yeah.
So that's our friend. Just big shout out to Mr. Whitty.
Yeah.
Whit Foley.
With our Whit Foley. Yeah, definitely. I think it's that thing, isn't it? I kind of like watching it with like friends and stuff rather than watching it by myself. Like,
you'd get bored and do something else. Whereas when we're all watching,
I'm still up for watching WrestleMania. 100%.
See, I'm not.
Lewis.
I think I've got work commitments, and I mean that in.
All right, fine.
Lesnar versus Roman for a title unification.
I mean, I don't want to watch it for fun.
That's clearly happening, isn't it? It's going to be a unification title match, isn't it? Yeah.
I want to watch WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania, and I've watched it every year on my birthday for the last.
Yeah, that's true.
25 years.
Yeah, that's true. 25 years.
I'm making myself older than I sound there. 20 years. No, let's go for. It's even less than that. I'd say 15 years.
He's trying to make himself seem young. Like
I think he is. Yeah.
Only the last 5 years because I'm only 21.
Officer.
Yeah. What do you think of AEW?
I think it's good. I think like as a new company, it's always like I know they've got the stars that they do and the push that they do, but it's always hard for a new company to start.
Yeah.
Because there's no storylines, so it's all stuff that they need to build. And I know they've been around for ages now. So they have
like
these
3 years now.
They have all these characters, but like I think they're doing a great job, and I think WWE needed it.
Yeah, I think they
WWE
did.
still need to, sort out what they're doing, but AEW is doing something different, and they're building different stars, and they're doing up some credible matches. So
it's kind of like the kick up the arse WWE needed because
definitely.
they were the big fish in the pond.
I mean, it's even making Impact.
Yeah, Impact are massively stepping up their game.
All of these companies now are working together, and I think that's what we really need. Like, stop pretending that you're the only wrestling show around WWE. Just use the other companies, and you'll see how incredible matches you can make.
It's so much better when they work together with other stuff because you can have like something like the Rumble. And can you imagine if say Kenny Omega had come out?
Like CM Punk came out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I think when another big thing when AJ Styles debuted. I know he's working for WWE, but that idea
big
of
TNA
someone
boy on it,
that idea of someone from another company just as a one night only.
But it was like Mickey James, wasn't it? Obviously, Mickey James was is Impact champion.
The Iconics. Well, what are they called now? The
Inspiration.
The Inspiration. They got asked if they wanted to go in,
and they said no.
Which I can't blame them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Mickey James went back though, because they threw all of her belongings in like a black bin bag and just gave it to her.
I think a lot of it is WWE will work more with TNA now.
There we go.
I think TNA and WWE are going to be.
It's not TNA, is it? It's Impact.
Well, okay, Impact. WWE's going to pick out of everybody they can pick. They're going to be like, we like Impact the most.
Yeah.
I think WWE and Impact we're going to see a lot more of teamwork between them two. I mean, Impact are still going to work with AEW.
I think Impact are in the middle ground. That's the best place to be. I think
Impact,
they're going to be.
Make it work for you.
That's what it's going to do.
And
and hopefully, eventually, WWE will go, you guys want to, hey, New Japan, how's Okada doing? Do you want to have a tricky match?
It's funny because there was reports that they had discussions with New Japan, but they never really went anywhere. So it would have been interesting to see what potentially would have happened.
Because titles be titles, I think the problem with that is, though, WWE will be very hard to negotiate with. Say it's a title v title match.
Yeah.
WWE can be like, we want to win.
Yeah.
We're winning.
Yeah.
No.
That or it's a bullshit finish.
Exactly. It's going to be that is going to be the hardest job. Like which company is going to be on top.
I think that's the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Because you couldn't imagine if say like they did all join together and they made one pay-per-view where it's all the companies together. Yeah. Imagine the title shot, the title match.
Yeah.
The WWE champion versus AEW versus New Japan versus Impact. How are they going to decide who wins that match?
Yeah, it writes itself into its own kind of corner. And I just think that WWE would also be like, I mean, I look at it from their point of view, like, does people watch Impact? If they do, what's the point of us bringing someone over from Impact if no one's watching their content? Like, how much are we going to gain new viewers from doing this?
I think they would. Genuinely, just because
think the love they got
Because
from Mickey James
the
was
character,
huge.
the people who, because I don't watch Impact, but if like the Impact champion came across, I'd be like, that's kind of interesting.
It's a big deal.
It's
Yeah.
kind of cool to see like
It'd be cool to see Moose on there, wouldn't it?
where are they going with this?
Yeah.
So I think it could work. It could work.
Yeah, I think for me AEW is great because it has changed the business. It's definitely made. I mean, it killed NXT, like the real NXT, didn't it? Like in a way.
I don't blame that on
I think
AEW,
they
blame that
killed.
on,
I
blame
think
that on
WWE killed
WWE.
Yeah, I mean,
think-
you have to look at it in terms of like, well, I mean, they changed their days to Wednesday to match AEW. Like
Yeah.
that was
That was
a move.
WWE's
Yeah.
fault.
and like
You're
you know
never
they
gonna
kind of
get-
shot themselves in the foot with that.
You're never
But they
gonna
wanted
have
to
NXT
compete.
competing with AEW though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
They're two,
But-
if you call NXT your developmental brand and you go, well, our developmental brand deal with AEW. And
Yeah.
you're like, no.
but even at that point, like NXT was
NXT
getting like a little bit like it
I
was
think that
running
was
its
the problem.
course, wasn't
I
it?
think-
I think it ran its course very quickly.
I think WWE were worried NXT were getting better, and they were like, we
Yeah,
have to.
but the progression system never worked. I mean,
Right.
you have a few people who were able to get out and make it, like your Romans, your Seths, and stuff. Like people were able to break away from that kind of system, and then you get people like your Ricochets who don't. And
Who are incredible wrestlers, but
just
if
don't
there's
get
a
rid
main
of the
roster,
chance.
there's nothing for them to
so
do.
the actual NXT system failed because it wasn't making stars. Like your Andrade's never really worked. Your Finn
Yep.
Balor's never really worked. Your Sami Zayn's. I mean, Sami Zayn's done okay for himself. Like, he's had an IC title run and stuff. He was never as big as he
Sadly.
maybe could have potentially been. Kevin Owens has done okay.
Yeah.
Like he's been a champion, but he's not really been the star that they need. So what they're doing now with 2.0 is they're actually going to try and make the system work. So like, for example, with Vince being more hands-on, like your Braun Breaker,
Yeah.
he's going to love. He loves him. Obviously,
Well,
he's
of
champion.
course, they're gonna like him anyway.
Yeah,
aren't
right,
they?
exactly.
Regardless,
He's really good. But like he'll be able to go to the main roster, no problem, because Vince knows who he's like, where he wants him to go.
Yeah.
I suppose,
You know
yeah.
what I
if
mean?
they've
It's
got,
just how do they run that? Do they, if they want to say Braun Breaker goes into the main roster, like he can't go straight into a high match. He's got to play against the lowers really, because that's how the system should work. Like he goes in, he might be good in NXT, but this is WWE with the best stars that they've got. He's gonna have to fight a jobber first. And
Yeah,
just-
totally. So you'd like build him up on that, but like they would
That's
know
the
his
problem.
character
They
a
would
bit more.
never do that,
Because I
would
think
they?
that was the issue with like your Keith Lee. I don't know how they got that wrong. You're like your KeithLee and like your Karrion
I was
Cross.
going to say that was a
You know,
character
so-
assassination.
So like I've never seen something change so quickly, and like they
Ascension.
just the Ascension is a
The
big
most
thing.
Dominant tag team champion, first match. They lost.
Yeah, they
Second
lost
match,
straight
they
away,
lost. It's
yeah.
like, well, that's done.
Yeah, but even
Bye, Ascension.
yeah, they just never gave them time because they just didn't know who they were, and
Yeah.
and obviously whoever was liaising between the two, it just didn't work. It didn't click, and
Yeah.
so it's really captivating to learn about like the difference. But I think that AEW has had an impact on that. They definitely
100%.
try to change things up and stuff. And I mean, I like AEW. I don't watch it like live, but I watch like highlights and keep up to date with it. I think some of their roster are amazing. I think the only issue is that they're overblowing their
Jungle
roster.
Boy, I love. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what they're gonna have now.
I think what they're doing is they're buying every single person who's like, then they're signing them all up, and then like you're missing out on other people. Like for example, Rusev, so Miro, he's not been on TV for like months, but he's amazing.
Yeah.
And who's getting his like shot? Your Punks, you know, and like your Daniel Bryans, who's that's cool, but like you also got to internalize and build your
Yeah,
brand.
you've got to look at who you've got and see, do I really need these guys as well? Or is it just like, oh, they're free agents, we should sign them? It's like, but do I really need
You're just
them?
buying them just so you can have
Yeah,
the
you're just
name
buying
on the
them,
poster.
it's just-
and-
like just for the shock value
With
and
CM
stuff.
Punk, I feel like that's a bit different because we always know. That
Yeah,
CM
totally.
Punk
Yeah, that's a whole
he was
different
always gonna.
ballgame.
If he wanted to go back to wrestling, he was always going to go to AEW.
Yeah.
But then he's come in, and I'm not trying to besmirch Brian, but Punk's come in and he's not gone in the title picture.
Yeah,
he's
actually done a
he's
really
with
good job,
like
yeah.
Sting and Darby Allin.
His
sort of-
MJF feud is like one of the hottest things going right now.
Yeah.
Well, MJF is supposed to be huge as well, isn't he?
I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic. And like they are building like their own stars, like your Britt Bakers, your Darby Allins, you know, your MJFs and stuff.
Darby
Your
Allin's good.
do you see the Sammy Guevara cutter that he did on Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
and again, like there are some real great talent, but they gotta hone in on that as well as obviously getting the other assets in. Because like you think about it, like they got Pac. You know, like Adrian Neville, like, he was one of the best wrestlers ever. Like,
he doesn't do much.
he's not really doing much. Like Malachi Black, he's in the tag kind of thing going on. They've now got like Kyle
Who's,
O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. They're not really doing anything.
Who are they? The Young Bucks still champion.
No, it's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are
Smiz.
champions
I
now.
thought it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. But they were like they were it for a
I
while.
always find
weren't
that frustrating though.
they? Well, I think that's why
Young Bucks-
Cody's got so much hate, isn't it? Because like,
Because I love the Young Bucks. Young Bucks are an incredible tag team. Like that's
Yeah.
obvious. But they're the owners. Like do
I
they
suppose-
really? They
yeah, that's what
shouldn't
Cody
be
gets.
I
champions,
suppose
should
it's
they?
like when Triple H would have long title reigns. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like-
is it because of who you know,
Yeah.
or is it
Like,
because
I'm not
of
saying
your
the
actual-
Young Bucks are a great tag team and they don't deserve to be the champion, but it is
Yeah.
also your own company.
But it was the same with
Yeah.
Kenny Omega, wasn't it? When he was champion, but like every match that he put on was stellar, and then he obviously did the whole belt collector gimmick and went over to Impact, won that title, and then
But they
you
didn't
know-
make Kenny Omega the first champion, was it? Was it Chris Jericho?
yeah, Jericho was first ever champion,
Which
yeah.
I think
which was great. I
perfect,
think it's really
'cause I
good.
think if
Yeah,
they'd have gone, it's Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
and
then
then
it-
just like
yeah,
It
and
would
then
have been a
it
bit
was-
predictable.
then
on
it was
that.
Moxley, and
Yeah.
then it was Omega,
yeah,
and
so
now
they
it's
didn't
Hangman.
rush it. They were like, well,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everyone's had a long title reign as well, which has been really good. And
yeah,
again, like even with the TNT championship, I think the first champion was Cody,
yeah.
and then I think
Which is
Brody Lee
fine.
beat him.
Because they had
Which
an
was
angle with
amazing.
that, 'cause it wasn't it Cody Rhodes versus Goldust for a while.
I think it was, yeah. They had like a
that-
rather. I think
yeah,
that
that
was
was
their
good.
one, yeah. But I think they're doing things great. I think that my only thing is don't overbloat your roster,
100%,
where you're missing out on other like
Because otherwise
key
you'll be
talent.
doing what WWE's doing now and just
Yeah.
firing everyone.
purging your money away, yeah. Which is not really what they want to do. But I don't watch it, but I like.
Yeah, I
the
like
stuff that
what
they're
I'm
doing.
hearing about it, and I like what I see. But
Yeah.
I've not had a chance to properly watch it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Best finisher in the business.
Ooh, best finisher. Oh, do I want to go for one which is most impactful?
Yeah.
One that looks good, or because I mean, obviously, best finisher in terms of just being incredible is the people's elbow.
Yeah.
It's not a good.
It's not a
move,
great finisher,
but it's just if
it's,
you see that, you know
You're
you know it's
popping.
it.
Oh,
You're popping.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Hyped
incredible.
up an elbow drop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just it's not the strongest finisher in the world, but it's incredible. Like you wouldn't mess with that finisher.
I think for me, it's either between the one winged angel, so Kenny Omega's finish,
Great finisher.
Mhm.
or the RKO.
So, yeah.
The cutter and the RKO for me is just my
Yeah,
favorite
RKO
finisher.
is
I think
incredible.
is
Yeah,
of
because
all time.
I mean,
Hence
you
Mercer-
say to
Mercer Black
anyone,
and
you say to anyone, RKO. and
They
they
know.
know exactly
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter if they like rested or not.
Mm.
They know what an RKO is.
Yeah. I just think it looks amazing. It just the cells can be incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, the Evan Bourne RKO is
Yeah.
still one of my favorites of
What
all
a
time.
What a match.
Yeah, I just you can't beat a cutter. in my
I think my favourite, and it's a similar line, the stunner.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
Yeah,
good.
you
It
simple. and
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a simple move.
can be hit
but
on anyone, can't
That's
it?
it. You can hit it out of anywhere. You can, like, less so with the RKO because you can hit that from someone who's
Yeah,
jumping off the top rope or with doing
Yeah.
a springboard, or you can just come out the frame. But it's like where you'd have counters and then Austin and now Kevin Owens just kicks him. You know what's about. to
yeah,
happen.
yeah, definitely.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's the and I think it's the same with the RKO and indeed a lot of moves. It's how the seller does it and how they react. Like
100%.
the Rock selling into the stunners and he's jumping
so
out.
good.
Yeah. I love. Did you see the talk that they had with Stone Cold where it's like, yeah, but Rock just did that to try and like, just to try and annoy me and make me laugh.
Yeah.
But it
Trying
makes
to
the
stop the
move look
boys.
so good. And then
Yeah.
like something like Ricochet taking the RKO and he lands on his head and he sort of then crumples.
Yeah,
And you're
so
like,
good.
it makes the move look so good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite styles of the Stone Cold Stunner was Scott Hall at
Yeah.
WrestleMania. He just like jumped and it was almost like he just flew
There's-
into the air. It was
yeah.
so good.
There's one, I think it is a Scott Hall one, but it's where he's been like kidnapped by Stone Cold.
yeah.
And he's like, Stone Cold's beating him up for the last 10 minutes. He's like, I'm going to stop doing this. And he gives him like a beer and he takes a swig and then he hits a stunner and there's like a spray. And
Oh
he's like,
yeah, the
Yeah,
spat.
that's
Oh, yeah,
it.
It's
And
so
it's
good.
just-
Yeah.
So simple. It's
Yeah.
like with people's elbow. Like,
We did it with The Rock, didn't he? When he was like,
Yeah.
you stunned him and he did and then hit him with another one.
Yeah.
And then he went
Yeah,
back.
that's
So
it.
good.
It's-
Yeah.
It's like the people's elbow. It's not, it's not going to be a powerful move, like really, but the way that Rock sells it,
Yeah.
it makes you think this is the best thing that he's ever going to do in his life.
yeah.
So
when,
good.
when you've got sort of say like a moves like something like a Spanish Fly or a Canadian Destroyer with flips and things
Yeah,
like that.
incredible
The fact,
moves.
the fact that like what is essentially just an elbow drop but with theatrics.
Yeah, it's just The Rock being The
It's-
Rock,
it's-
and it's just like, what is this? Taking off the elbow pads.
It's like The Worm.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
People
yeah.
hyped over The Worm.
So
but
good.
it was terrible.
In terms of a movie,
It's
it's
an
just-
arm drop, isn't
That's a
it?
move,
It's
yeah,
just a forearm
Just
smash.
a
isn't
slap
it?
to the chop.
yeah.
So funny. So you're saying people's elbow?
I'm saying people's elbow just because of the pure
I love that.
hilarity
No,
of it.
it's-
Yeah. Best entrance /entrance music.
Fire, CM Punk.
That's great. That's a great song choice. I think for me,
Just because I love that song and it has to be it. It's got to
Yeah.
be. Although I did hear one time at a UPW show, Lord Gideon Grey came out to Evil Morty theme. And that was just incredible.
yes.
Just flashing back to an earlier question, actually. If we're talking promos and favourite promos,
Yeah.
there was one where Gideon Grey sort of like the crowd's cheering him because it's. I think it was a show me and you went to.
Yeah.
Because it might have been Dorchester or something.
Yeah, it was Dorchester.
'Cause,
Small House. I think I know
the
what you said. He was in the title shot, wasn't he?
Yeah, the crowd's sort of supposed to boo him, but they're cheering him, and he's sort of like in the ring, and he's sort of like doing his regal,
Yeah.
lordly sort of thing, and then he goes, "You know what? You fans are all right," and everyone's like, "Oh, he's doing a nice thing," and then he just goes, sort of says like nice things. It's really nice to hear this reaction. Is what I'd say if I was a total moron. And then just slams it. And instantly, like, all these little kids who've been cheering him, just like, you can see like 7-year-olds turn on him. Like,
Incredible.
just like-
I like good old Gideon Grey.
that was,
It was very good.
yeah.
Oh,
But no,
yes.
in terms of coming out to music, I think it's, I've got to say Edge.
Yeah, Metalinguist.
Yeah,
Metalinguist.
the old, yeah,
the
not,
Alter
it's like,
Bridge, yeah.
not the other ones.
yeah.
Not Rob Zombie or the other one. I think
Yeah.
that just, it's
It gets you pumped, it gets you hyped, doesn't it? Yeah.
what I think makes a good theme is like, it doesn't go straight into the music. It gives you like, there's something to let you know it's that wrestler. Like, so glass shattering.
Yeah.
If you smell, well, the wrong
Yeah,
cooking.
yeah.
Radio static.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I even like Batista's entrance.
Well, I was going to say Batista's
Yeah,
is probably
actually.
one of my picks. If I had two in my mind, I think one of them is Batista is definitely up there. I think his song is just insane, gets you pumped, and I love his entrance.
Yeah.
Like, how many times I was a kid and I was like, fire effect, like, oh yeah. God, yeah, so good. And then, yeah, Edge is definitely on there for me in terms of songs that
Kane,
just get
Slow
you pumped.
Chemical.
Slow Chemical, phenomenal.
Best.
Love
So,
it.
as much as I like Kane,
Badass.
as much as I like Kane, I don't like his. I'm not. His theme's all right.
Randy Orton's one when he. Oh,
Well, hold on.
Burning
What
My
about,
Light
what about your Drew McIntyre? You love the Drew McIntyre theme.
I do love. What, which
Broken,
one?
broken,
Broken Dreams, yeah. That's a great tune as well. That's a great tune.
High
as
voice
well.
theme
High
is
voice
iconic,
themes.
isn't it?
But yeah, Randy Orton's one, not the one he's got now, but one he had just for like, he didn't have it very long, I swear. I forget what it's called though. It was so good.
Oh yeah, not the voices one. It was the one before
It was
that.
Burning My Light,
Hey,
wasn't it?
nothing you can
Yeah.
say. Yeah. That was a banger.
And the
Yeah.
Nexus theme.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
The Nexus.
Okay, we'll move on to probably So this one I think is one that we've been wanting to get to. Who's the most overrated wrestler of all time?
I think you should start because I think yours might be a bit smaller than mine and Lewis's.
I'm just
I
trying
don't
to
know.
think.
It might not be, but
See, I queue these up for you to answer, for then me to think about.
no. Well, I mean,
I think
Lewis
yeah,
can
I
go
think
first.
Smiz
Right.
goes first because I think
I
he
think
knows.
we might have to go for a toilet break by the time he's done.
Yeah.
No, I can.
We got enough time.
Yeah,
yeah,
what are we on
maybe,
at the moment?
yeah.
So, as I say, I got into wrestling in the Attitude Era. So
Who's
there's
he
a
gonna
whole.
pick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
There's
two,
a
isn't
whole old school sort of like new generation and before the old era ones that everyone has this nostalgia for, and they go, they're the best of all time. They'd be on my Mount Rushmore, and I'm like, I didn't see them. When I did get to see them, they come back to all, so they weren't great.
Yeah.
So it's a toss up between Hogan and Flair. Out of the two, I find Hogan more dislikable as a person, just because
Sure. Yeah.
you go read backstage reports, and I've got people who I work with who don't follow wrestling,
Yeah.
and they were talking to me about it, saying like they watched or read an Andre the Giant documentary, how he was the good guy all his life, and then Hogan needed him to be the bad guy, and it broke Andre's heart.
Yeah.
So it's and his sort of backstage politics,
Yeah.
but Flair. There's just something. That's not even his gimmick. He
That's
stole
why
that.
isn't
Oh yeah.
And it's
He stole
like
everything he did, didn't
it's like that's all he's done.
he? Yeah. Yeah.
And just wherever he goes, he does that. So he goes to TNA and he's like, "Oh, I'm the Nature Boy." I don't know why he's Randy Savage.
Why is he Randy Savage?
Because I can't do impressions at the best of times. But you know what I mean? He's like, he goes to TNA and he's the Nature Boy, and he comes back to WWE and he's the Nature Boy, and he's like a
But surely
65-year-old.
that shows that he's got a great character.
He's got a
No,
gimmick.
because
He's got a great gimmick.
I could back when he was, if I was watching when he was like younger, like in WCW and like
Prime Flair years.
yeah, I could believe he's like, oh, he's the wheeling dealing. I could believe this character, but a 65-year-old man, like
he's not Terry Tibbs.
Do you know remember his when he was like trying to hook up with Lacey Evans, being her pregnant?
yeah,
Believable.
that's
Blair?
just
No, you have to
Lewis
narrow
was
it
also
down.
trying to hit
Flair.
on.
You have to
Flair.
narrow it down.
Flair.
So it's definitely Flair.
because
Yeah,
I think
overrated.
people like Hogan, they like him as a character, but I don't think anyone would ever go, yeah, he was one of the best wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
Whereas Flair, yeah, in terms of wrestling ability, yes, but character just
Oh, I don't know. I think people would
it's
say
just
Hogan's
go
one of the best.
away heat for me. It's just
Okay. Yeah,
To be
no,
fair,
that's fair. That's fair.
with
To be
like-
fair.
To be fair,
I knew this was a setup, and I just
well, with Ric Flair, yeah. The only time I really see him was when he's an old man. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, and I watch his matches. I'm like, you don't really wrestle. You
it's
just
the-
sort of like punch.
they
do
make a
little
big deal
dance.
out of it, and they use photos of him from like 20 years ago when he looked good, and you bring him out, and it's like, this is one of the greatest things.
I love
The
Flair.
generation, and this character and this wrestler means so much. It's like, what, this dirty old man who's like,
At least with Hulk Hogan,
Dirty man.
I've seen
Dirty
some
old
old matches, and he could actually do some wrestling.
Yeah.
Whereas with
Yeah.
Flair, it's just
Well,
a
no,
lot
you-
of,
I,
woo, woo.
No, I disagree. I think Flair was phenomenal in his prime. His promos are incredible. Like
Oh yeah, as a
his,
promo,
his,
100%,
his,
100%.
his like wrestling ability is definitely there. I think a lot of our memories are probably jaded with him from like when he came back
Oh,
and
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
Evolution.
Yeah.
And a lot of that
I
kind of
only
stuff.
know,
I-
I don't know him.
I-
I only really know him as an old person.
Yeah.
I think even
And he
I
has
liked
might
him.
have
great promos, but he just annoyed me. But I guess that's
But that was
the
his point,
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
it?
true.
Like
I
but
think
I've
the
never seen a
idea
match. I've seen him use a move.
the idea of
Except
the
it's
idea
like-
of evolution, where it was like the present, the past, the future,
Yeah.
that worked. But the thing is, Ric Flair then stayed there.
For another 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Still
something's
there.
the past, you kind of go, okay, it's passing the torch. He's going to go retire eventually. Oh, he's still here. He's still doing it.
Yeah.
Even after his retirement match, he's still here.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, I said I'd never wrestle in this company. I'm going to go elsewhere.
yeah,
and
he's
wrestle.
unretired. Yeah, did his incredible match against Shawn Michaels and then went back to TNA.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
shame. Okay, I know mine. It's very controversial.
If you say the Miz whilst looking at me.
You say Finn Balor while looking at me.
No. It is Mick Foley.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see why you say it was controversial, and I can. Yeah.
So for me, Mankind and Mick Foley, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call him, like he's just for me he's a hardcore wrestler. He's basically he's like a punching bag for me. I've never watched a match where I've ever been like, oh yeah, he's really good. For me, he's just a stunt man. He's just a glorified stunt man. Like the whole Undertaker thing was incredible. Like what an amazing thing, and obviously a true testament to the individual for putting his body on the line. I've just never been impressed by it.
Fair.
Like the whole thing off the, I've never looked at him and gone, oh yeah, he'll win this match. He's a strong contender. He's probably going to get the crap beaten out of
winning
him.
the belt pretty much won.
But did he really win the belt? No, because Stone Cold Steve Austin came down to the ring, hit someone with a steel chair, and dragged his body onto the person, and then he won the championship.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the record book said that Mick Foley won. Well, Mankind won, so
yeah, true,
He
but
won.
like, you know, I look at it in terms of like, if we're looking at him as a wrestler, I've never really been impressed with things he does. His finishing move is him pulling out a sock and putting it into his
That's-
mouth.
That's Lewis' kind of creation there. Like,
Yeah, but it's like, you wouldn't say that Santino Marella was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he did the old Cobra.
The thing with
I mean, I love Santino, but yeah, Mick Foley, I just never got. I never got the hype. I never got like the characters and stuff. Was just I never liked Dude Love.
Oh,
Well, Cactus
Cactus
Jack,
Jack.
Cactus Jack, and was just kind of really similar to Mankind in a
Cactus
way.
Jack versus Edge. What a match that was.
Yeah, I never. It's just a spot
Cactus Jack versus
fest.
Triple H.
It's just
What
a
match that
hard.
was.
It's just a hardcore spot fest.
Actually, I think that match was at Royal Rumble 2000. Cactus Jack versus Triple H.
might have been actually.
Maybe.
Thumbtacks. It was.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't a pure wrestling match, but for entertainment.
I enjoyed his like rivalry with Randy Orton when Randy Orton was doing like the Legend Killer stuff, and he did like the thumbtacks and stuff on that. But yeah, I've just never looked at him as a credible like wrestler, or really been like massively impressed by promos or just his general kind of work really. Which he's a lovely guy, and I'm sure. And, he's gonna listen to this. I'm sorry, I'll send you some free merch. Yeah.
He's just like, Vice doesn't like me.
Well, I'm not gonna wish him have a nice day. I don't know who that is. That's not.
You sound
It's
like
Paul
Mr.
Heyman.
He's like doing the clown.
I try and do it, and in my head I'm like, yes.
Yeah, like that. No. So Mick Foley is mine.
Mine is obvious for you two, to be honest.
Is it?
John Cena.
Okay.
It's John Cena.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Promos, incredible. As a man who got, from merchandise, sales, body, incredible.
There's a lot for charity.
Yeah, as a person, incredible.
Yeah, that's same with Mick
And it's
Foley.
not
Incredible
really
guy.
that I think that John Cena's a bad wrestler. It's not because I think he's he didn't deserve what he had. It's just the way that he was pushed.
Yeah.
I just think he's great and he's strong. Like, I don't know if he can wrestle because I've only seen him ever do 5-6 moves. But
he had a good match against AJ Styles, Royal Rumble.
yeah, he did then.
But that's probably been about it in his 20,
I can't
15-year
name.
career.
No one thinks, what was the best match I've ever seen? It's got John Cena in it.
Yeah, totally.
You don't think that.
Yeah.
Same with Mankind.
I don't think that he's like John Cena. I just see he snuck in there. John Cena versus The Rock. The first match, incredible, brilliant. The Rock won, which was great.
Good decision.
They never needed to have the second match. There's just no point in it.
That whole fiasco was like when it's like
once in a lifetime. How are we again?
Exactly. Like
next
John
year,
Cena
already announcing the main event.
We already know it.
That was
Yeah.
bad.
And again, the Nexus, they bring this ridiculously powerful of young wrestlers to the roster, then push Wade Barrett as much as they can go, and then it's Survivor Series. It's 4 versus 1, but Cena's left. Cena's pinned every one of them.
Yeah.
How to bury a whole team? It's just
undermine the whole thing.
It just doesn't make sense, and it's not because I don't think John Cena is a good performer. I don't think he had everything you would want at that point in time that WWE wanted. It's like the merch sales was ridiculous, like his promo skills are ridiculous, but he was just boring and just pushed way too much.
Yeah, I think
way too much.
I definitely agree with you on that. I think he is overrated. Like
if
in
they
terms of
didn't
his
push him
height
as
and
much,
stuff. Yeah, but then he's kind of, in a way, like you look at it, like he is Hogan.
Yeah,
Like he's a Hogan. He's a Hogan
he's
thing.
Rock.
Like he's Hogan, and Rock was a great wrestler though. Like
Rock had the persons with him.
Yeah.
John Cena had Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Maybe a few other people who.
And that was so incredibly detrimental to the company, because when Cena went, they were so screwed.
Yeah.
And it's what they're doing with Roman now. If Roman goes, they're kind of buggered. And they're going to have to lean on your Goldbergs and your Brock Lesnar's coming back to kind of try and...
Jesus, with Goldbergs and Brock Lesnar's. Nothing wrong with Brock Lesnar, to be fair.
I think Goldberg's overrated, personally.
It's more Goldberg.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Brock Lesnar. It's like, something's going to be said about Goldberg.
But it's the way that someone is booked is so fundamental to their career and how we as fans perceive them. And we're now in a world where we absorb so much content now. We want different content all the time to keep us fresh and different. I'm so bored of Roman Reigns right now because he's just champion all the time. It's boring.
Everyone's buried. It's like with John Cena.
Yeah,
It's no fault of his own, really, but he buried everyone.
Exactly. No one really said he killed the Nexus completely.
Killed the Nexus, yeah.
Completely killed
They
them.
literally had an incredible force that they brought forward. Granted, some of them probably wouldn't have gone very far, but Wade Barrett could have been
Wade Barrett could have been really, really
just
great.
the idea of
for
it
a long time.
It's such a shame. But
And it's
I
just-
think that's fair.
Just no fault. No, do you know, John Cena? If you're watching or listening, I still like you. I think you're a great guy and a great wrestler. Just I think you were pushed too much.
Yeah, I think it's the
too
backstage
much.
things with that. Whereas Cena is a nice guy.
I'll send you free merch as well, Cena.
There you go.
See, I like how when you're overrated, you've both taken the time to apologise to you. I'm not apologising.
Ric Flair, if you're watching, he's serious.
If I had merch, I wouldn't send it to you. It's just,
Amazing. Oh, well, I feel like if we just quickly touch upon maybe an underrated wrestler that you believe should have had more of an opportunity or still can have more of an opportunity. if I said to you, who's an underrated wrestler that you want to see excel and go further in their career, who would you say? I'll go one.
Yeah, you go for yours.
So this is very random and very different, but mine is Xavier Woods.
Okay.
I think he's got everything. I think he's got the promo. I think he's got the wrestling ability. I think he's got the look.
He's got the past.
He's got the past. So does everyone else. But I, for me, I feel like he has everything, and I love his work. He's just insane, and I think he's not really been given that much of an opportunity. I know obviously he's been King of the Ring, which is like really cool, and he's injured at the moment.
Yeah.
But like, he's always been under the radar, especially when even in New Day, like he was always the guy who was on the side. Like Big E was the big heavy in that match, and Kofi was obviously the vet with the experience.
He was the only one not to win the WWE champion.
Exactly.
Is he
Yeah.
next?
Yeah. So I would love to see. I'd love to see Xavier Woods get a bigger push. I just think he's amazing.
He was always like the not the weak link. That's maybe the wrong sort of phrase. But if they were in a tag team match and someone was going to take the pin,
he was always Xavier Woods. Yeah, and I loved his stuff as Consequences Creed as well in TNA. I thought he was really good in that as well. But yeah, I just want to see a bit more from him. Really, that's my underrated.
I think that's the one of the issues with WWE is there's so many people you want to see do more and be pushed. It can't have everyone in the title picture.
Yeah.
But there's people who you think actually I would want to see them do more.
Yeah.
And some of them have already gone elsewhere. Like they could have done so much more with like a Samoa Joe.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But
his rivalry with AJ Styles was like so great and like such compelling TV.
But if he leaves or whatever, he's got that TNA history. He doesn't necessarily need a WWE run, type run. It'd be nice. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice, but I don't think he needs that to cement him. I think in terms of current wrestlers who I think they could be doing more with, I think someone like Chad Gable.
Oh yeah.
I think
Mini Kurt Angle.
Yeah. He should have been his son.
Yeah.
It made sense.
Yeah.
But I think even that whole storyline was. But I think you've got someone who's got this athleticism and thing, and he's just tag team matches. And I'm not saying you can't be a star in tag team matches.
Yeah.
But the tag team titles are below the main event ones. And I think someone like that could be. You could have a solid IC or US champion in him. I mean, they seem to be giving more chances to people, which is good. But I think someone
giving chances or just being like, you're gonna.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a massive gap, isn't there, between like your Romans and your Lesners, and then like everyone else is there, aren't they? Yeah. Like your Gables and stuff. I think
not for main titles. I think IC and US.
I can't think.
Not your Shorty G then.
Again, you don't. It's
so
it's
weird,
the WWE thing of giving them like stupid nicknames and characters. It's like you don't need like.
Yeah.
You can just have. You could have a Dean Ambrose as like just a no nonsense brawler. No, he's going to wear masks and be clean about everything and not want to touch people.
Weird.
Yes, he was quite prophetic in that sort of respect. Yeah. But
he was actually very visionary, isn't he?
Yeah. Ahead of his time.
Az, you got one?
I'm going to go for, in terms of like WWE,
which is mostly what we know to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be Luke Harper, rest his soul. He had everything in WWE, and they just did not do anything good with him. Like,
I agree.
Where was it? It was Survivor Series again, when he was like, I can be a team player.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. And like, apparently that
he didn't like his accent or something.
That cost him his thing, and it's just like, why? This guy is incredible.
His ladder matches against Dolph Ziggler for the IC title were phenomenal.
Yeah, even just for a guy that size to have, and to not even say anything, but to also like hold that room whilst he's in it.
He
was incredible. He was so good.
Yeah.
Very sort of most demanding presence and look. You watch the match and he's like crazy staring at people, and you're like, these.
Yeah.
He was eccentric in a completely different way. The whole crazy thing has been done to death now. Like, you can just slap face paint on someone or whatever, and they can look crazy or weird or whatever. But like, he was just
you believed it. When
he was a different level of crazy that he brought. It was just so unique.
Yeah. You say to sort of like someone like, oh, your gimmick is you're going to be crazy in the ring, and they're like, yeah. And then you've just got someone who's like, oh, look at me, I'm all jittery and things. And then you've just got someone who's just staring like bug-eyed at people and not moving, and you're like, that's...
And he looked like he would break you in every single way. He was just...
one of the best lariats of all
Absolutely
time.
incredible.
Yeah.
And he went to AEW and he did a great job there. And sadly,
it
things
didn't get the
happened.
time.
But he was. I think WWE did miss a trick with him. They could have pushed him a lot more.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So we'll wrap this episode up with kind of just talking about our own wrestling promotion in a way. So our virtual wrestling promotion, which you can watch on twitch.tv /Wolfpack. Every Wednesday now and then, around about 8 p.m. UK time.
Every Wednesday now and then.
So Action All-Star Wrestling.
It's happening on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's always going to be a Wednesday, isn't it, really? Unless we change it or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us a little bit more about like the history of Action All-Star Wrestling, how we came to make it and where it all came from. I think like you're probably the best person to start with, Az, on that.
Well, I'll take it back to right at the start. I just started working at Coffee One. I met Larry.
It's all good story
Shout out
stuff.
to Larry as well.
Shout out to Larry,
Yeah.
So the new WWE game was coming out. I was like, oh, I'm going to get this. He was like, why? You still like wrestling? I'm like, I don't really watch it anymore, but the games are incredible.
Yeah.
And so I said, why don't you come round? We'll play some games. And then we just started playing it. Got Lewis back involved, and then obviously yourself involved.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were just, as we kept creating stuff and playing with stuff, it just kind of, we were watching pay-per-views anyway, so it was like, well, why don't we come round and make our own show? And we just started building on it from there, and just then we started doing the promos, and we started going a bit out of control with it.
It got very tense.
I
think the night I remember, not fondly, but was...
I don't think I'm going to come off great in this night.
No, you're all right.
Brilliant.
And I will change... I'll be vague about it so you'll know, but so not to potentially spoil any other future...
Okay, yeah.
It was when two of our... So it was a group of 4 friends. It was us 3 and Larry.
Yep.
And two of them were in a particular group. And that made sense for them to be a group. And it's then when someone else said, I'm going to be in the group as well. And we were in spoons with this discussion, and
I have no idea where this is going.
I'm trying to fuck
it was when there was 4 people sat at a table and 3 of them belonged into one particular group.
Is this about me?
No.
Wait, so you felt alienated because all 3 of us were in the
Well,
group?
it was a bit like, are you kidding me?
But then you weren't, because you were in it before I was.
No.
Yeah.
It was your main guys.
Oh.
And I don't mean it, but it's just like...
Wait, what?
I'll go into...
When were we in a faction and that was the main
We
guys?
weren't properly.
You can't hide from them.
Yeah, but like I wasn't in that. My main guy wasn't.
There was an evening where it was... I don't know if it went ahead, but it was... whether the plan was for you to join, then betray.
Oh, right. Okay.
That
never was going to happen.
But 1, that couldn't have happened, and 2, it's because your character, like...
Oh, yeah.
Your main character, like, had his own stuff.
He didn't have much going on.
He didn't really need to be in...
But that's it. It's like, hang on, everyone's in this club now. Who are they going to face?
I don't feel alienated, man.
No, but then we stopped doing it.
So
it got a bit sort of...
It got very heated, didn't it?
We did have a lot of heated moments.
I think because... I think it's just a different time. I mean, we were just
taking it very seriously.
We take games very seriously. I think that was the thing. And I think like
None of us wanted our guys to lose.
Yeah, and we took it very, very personally, which is something that I think we do in the reincarnation of AEW now, but we're very relaxed on it. And obviously, it's very early days.
It's hard to be relaxed still because with but
the tension's still there. Yes.
For instance, my character.
Yes.
He didn't lose a lot, did he? Like he did lose matches, but he didn't. It wasn't very often.
Who's your guy?
You can say it because it's you.
Azrael.
Really?
Oh. So Azrael was your guy. Yeah, so Azrael was your guy. Mercer Black was my guy, and Denim Diablo. So he was Mercer at the time. He was just Mercer.
Azrael didn't lose a lot. So
no. Well, none of our guys really lost a lot.
Denim
Denim had a terrible run,
but
didn't
he's
he?
on the
Then he had
biggest-
one pay-per-view where he won everything,
Yeah, yeah.
didn't he?
Every
then we
game
went
I
from there.
played.
But like Azrael didn't lose a lot, so when we started doing this, I'm still in the.
The new version.
When we started doing the new version, I'm still in the head like Azrael's incredible. He doesn't lose,
Yeah.
and to lose like a lot of matches, it's just like,
It's
oh god,
heartbreaking,
what's
yeah.
happening?
I think the thing with where we do AAW now, we
Yes.
put a lot of effort and time into it to make it entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is
definitely.
hopefully
Yeah, hopefully people are enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Touch wood.
it seems,
you
it
wouldn't
seems to be the way.
you wouldn't be watching. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
But when we got to this level previously, when it was just like, okay, it's the four of us meeting up before the Rumble, and we got this. It's like, this is a bit much for what we're doing.
I think we had a lot of drink at the time. We had championships and
We had
stuff. We were
championships,
very,
we had belts, we had
very
everything
like
going,
on it
yeah.
and
so
stuff.
where's your
and-
homework?
Yeah,
Like the belt I liked because there was a bit of sort
yeah, I
of,
like that. Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, and I think then if one person didn't turn up for whatever reason,
Yeah, all
I
fell
would just
asleep.
have to play.
Yeah, all,
Yeah,
fell
that's it.
asleep,
It's like,
all fell asleep and just didn't turn up to the event like they were supposed to.
That
Yeah,
was a tetchy match.
that was a
though.
bad
none of us here.
Yeah.
None of us here, but there's another character might have.
But that's it. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
then do. Could you then do the main event fairly?
Yeah.
It just became a
Yeah, I
lot.
suppose.
But the idea and the fun has carried over. I like that.
I think what's made it better is that we learned from it, didn't we? And we were like,
yeah.
we'll take it seriously, but not as seriously. And now because we're presenting it to other people, it doesn't feel like it's just us. Like we're literally
Yeah.
competing against us because
Yeah.
we're trying to make it a
and
dramatic
as we
show.
don't play all the matches either. Like,
No.
yeah.
that's the-
not like none of my other characters win any matches.
Yeah.
But you can blame the computer
cares
for
about
that.
my other characters, and I'm just like, it's
Yeah.
cool.
But that's it.
Whatever.
Or you read chat and get pinned by me.
Yeah. Like, what's this? It's fine. It doesn't matter. 'Cause
I think again like we've definitely learned from that and able to give a little bit away. But then there's also like I think what makes it compelling is that we still care a lot that we want our guys to win, which
Yeah.
is what
It's-
makes it great, compelling watching anyway. Because there are people who follow our channels and stuff who don't really know wrestling who are actually enjoying this way more than they thought they would, and we got message about it all the time, which is so lovely. And I think having that kind of competitive nature with the creativity that we do and actually making things happen, and I think we all work so well. Like we understand the vision of what we want AAW to look like and how we want it to be presented so well. I think
we
that's
don't
what
really
makes
have
it fun.
arguments. We have like moments where we were all just like quiet for a little while, where we're just like, none of us agree with each other. Let's just leave it for a
Well,
bit and
I
then
think-
talk. But
Yeah.
it doesn't get any. It doesn't
it's-
get bad because we just like work around it.
And yeah, because sometimes you can want one thing to go one way and then it might not, and then they go, oh, okay, and then like we do this. But I think again that spontaneity like allows it to be unique and different. Because I mean, obviously, so this will probably come out after the event that's going to be broadcasting on Wednesday. To Risk and Reward, like I would never have imagined like the card to look the way that it did. I think we would have positioned our guys to be in certain ways.
No,
if
you know, like your Azrael and your Denims are like that's who you want.
The top two matches.
Kind
I
of
thought
is
it
where
would
we
be
want that.
one of those four.
Yeah.
I didn't. No offense to Denim, I didn't necessarily think Denim
I
was the
think it would be the
champion
champion.
at
No,
all.
not at all.
If this was back in
God,
the
when
old-
was it? The old days.
the old days, so 2K
17,
17,
16,
Yeah, I think it was 2K17,
15 to
because
16.
we missed 18 and then 19. We were going to do it and then we didn't, and then COVID all happened and stuff. And now we've finally done it. When we're
Yeah,
on 19.
there was. I think it was always like we're just gonna have our guys, like our main guys, and it would be like they're getting a title match. It's like why?
Yeah.
So now we actually have to think about it. It's like, well, it doesn't make sense for someone to suddenly go straight in. There's got to be a build-up, which is what we want to see. Because if you watch that, so say I debuted Denim Diablo now, and I was like, he's in the title shot.
Yeah.
You go, well, hang on, that's not why. Why is he proving?
Yeah.
And it only works in some circumstances and scenarios. But you watch that as, say, WWE, say John Cena hadn't been in it, and they suddenly go, here's John Cena. He's now fighting in WrestleMania main event. You go, why?
Yeah, like why should I care about this person?
Yeah.
Like what? That's
What's
a bit
going
weird.
on here?
And I think that's the hard thing as well, is like we're trying to also bring something that's not a lot of people tend to watch or new viewers watch. So we get people who watch the wrestling and then we get people who don't. And like they're legitimately interested because we're allowing people to get invested in characters. Because we're always like we chat and interact a lot with chat. And there's people that we're like, oh, so everyone seems to be really liking this guy. So let's give them another opportunity. And if they
Yeah.
lose, we're like, well, okay, so now the crowd know that that person's not very good, so they'll root someone else. And we'll try and make people root for this guy, and we'll do promos to kind of help other characters and stuff. And I think it's working, and I think that's what's really special about it, is that it gives us all a chance to be creative for a start, but it also allows us to make a show for people to enjoy. And if something's not working, we'll be like, okay, we'll try
That's
something
the hard
different.
part, making it so that you guys enjoy it, basically.
Yeah,
It's like...
yeah. And I think that's what makes it fair. I actually think that's the perfect balancing act, because you could be like, well, I want this to happen with my guy. And I'm like, well, can we just hold off maybe
Well, he's
not?
lost 4 matches on the trot.
Yeah.
We need to...
But that's it.
Nobody
It's
likes
this
it.
is where I want to be. How do I go about that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he'd have to do this first. Okay, let's do that. It's not
Yeah.
too much of a
And
step
then
to go from.
we have, like, say... Like, I'm just going to say it. Nobody thought here that Play J Jones would be in that match.
I mean,
But that's
I
it.
made AJ Jones, obviously he's based on someone I know, a good friend. And I literally, we need to just fill out our roster. So I'll make him,
Yeah.
because we made him when we used to play 2K14 or 2K13.
Yeah.
And we used to just like joke around, and he was called the Play J. And so I made him in part of our thing, but now he's like one of the people love
big.
him.
He's big.
He's like beat load of other like
love
wrestlers and stuff, and he's on a roll. And
I remember when
it's so funny.
You sent us. Oh, I just randomised the matches for risk and reward elimination. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to see, if you don't believe me that these are what the things come out, I recorded them, and we were like, oh yeah, 8 Play J Jones Beaver Rocker, yeah, that's a good one, mate.
Oh, come on.
Change the
they're bad,
records,
they're bad of me,
you just want to give Rocker a cheeky win, don't you? And then we watched the match,
But-
and he just reverses. Chucks him on the floor, hits that leg, drop, and
That was
pins
it, game over.
your
But
face,
that's
mate.
where, like,
what I find.
old AAW, every match was played.
Yeah,
Because we go like, okay,
Yeah.
we'd look at it and it's like,
This
right,
is my character.
this is my
your
character, and he's facing as his character. Then there's going to be a tag team between your team and Az's
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
Larry's not playing much on this show, so we do that match.
Yeah.
But every match was played, so it's quite tiring. Whereas now we sort of will go, right,
get annoying.
we've got no stakes in this match, or it's not any of our guys. We're going to sit back and watch it and react, and that's where I think it's funny. Like,
Das gets fun, yeah.
like Chen.
Chen.
What a match
Yeah.
against
We were.
Lord Marshall.
You can look at us, just go like, what is like, and the
Yeah.
realization,
Yeah.
and then sort of other moments like that, where it's a squash match or Rich Uncle Skeleton versus Raiden.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just because like we're like, this
Yeah.
is it, and then he hits the Skelecopter again, and then it's just it's like watching it live.
I think that's the beauty as well. So obviously we make things, and then we allow. I think actually watching the matches doesn't cause fatigue for us, and then it actually allows the directions to change and things, and then it's exciting for us because. Realistically, if everything went our own specific ways, it could be quite boring after a while.
Yeah.
Like
Probably so.
like if I won every belt or whatever, won every match, it's like, oh, it's great and stuff. And then actually after a while, it's a bit like, oh, well, I'm hogging it a bit too much, and then you start to feel a little bit bad. But actually, where we make it in the way that it's open, we give everyone equal opportunities. It kind of works itself out perfectly in terms of the direction of where it goes, and it makes it compelling viewing for the people watching, because. It's easy for you to go, well, I kind of want this to happen, or I think this guy should be here. I get it because I'm a wrestling fan, but someone who's watching it who doesn't watch wrestling, they'll be like, wait, why? Why is that happening? So
literally.
it's finding that balance that between what we know and then trying to explain it to everybody else, which is why we try and do what we do.
I think also when it doesn't go our way, so say we want to go from A to C.
Yeah.
And we think, okay, the best way to do that is to go directly, A, C. And it doesn't happen. It's like, right, let's go to B first,
Yeah.
then. So, example, Lord Marshall,
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we thought the computer would beat Chen. The computer did not. So we then had to go, right, but we still kind of want this to happen. How do we go about it?
Yeah, because we still have to play it in a sense of, this guy...
Yeah.
Especially in the case of Lord Marshall Hansen, he's putting in the effort himself.
Yeah,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
He's doing it. He's
Yeah,
got
big
a
shout out,
great
Flea.
character, great promo skills, great history. People love him. We don't really want to push him out of a match,
No.
So we had to. We thought.
How do we get here? How do we make it seem genuine?
So there are elements. It's like again with like Archangel.
He's Larry's character.
Destructive. And that's great, but we also have to think of like, how can we beat him without it looking ridiculous? Because we couldn't have it say, oh, it's LJ versus, he's managed to play against like Raiden or something,
Yeah.
and Raiden destroys him, and it's just like that just can't work. So
Yeah.
we've got to.
There's
a fine difficulty kind of line between
Luckily,
it.
we
Yeah.
had Mercer Black to come in and make it an
Mm.
event where it's going to be a great match where who knows what's going on. 2 legitimate characters and
Yeah, and I think we all
it
like
keeps some ground in it at the same, because obviously it's a mid-card belt technically, like
Yeah, totally.
so we need to keep them as a little bit grounded.
I mean,
it's
they're
still got
also-
those
yeah.
stakes though. That's the thing.
And I think as well, like
it's
obviously
still
there's
high stakes but-
with a lot of things that we did previously with AEW. There was, I mean, the biggest rivalry was Azrael Mercer, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And we knew intentionally, right, we want to keep them away because we don't want that to be the biggest thing kind of going in. So I was like, I'm happy to step back and just focus on IC. You go for the main because it just makes sense. Well, I mean, originally I
we
wanted
did that match first, didn't we?
Yeah.
The triple threats, and we tried
Yeah.
to align it so that
they would meet, but not
like, they
in.
might be in a match,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be a singles, and
But it
just
didn't quite
from
go the
there.
way. But it was really, I think this was what's really interesting as well is allowing that to kind of happen and brew the way it did and seeing how things develop. And I think it's worked in our favour and
I
stuff.
think
And
it's
I think
great.
there's going to be
Yeah.
lots of things that are going. I mean, I originally wanted Azrael to be champion, so I thought, great, heel champion. People are going to hate him, and then it builds up people like Mercer or Denim to come take it.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It flipped the other way around, and Denim is now on a tear.
I gotta say, obviously I wish Azrael was a champion, but Jesus Christ, Denim as champion is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so good. It
It
works
gives
so
Azrael
well.
more though, because it's like the chase and he takes it. He can
Yeah.
take it. He
Or
can
he's
taking
about-
away what
or he's
people
about
love.
to be buried.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
who knows
we'll
what's gonna
find
happen.
out.
It's going to be really interesting when this comes out. We'll know.
Yeah, Denim's
We
gonna
will know
be
what
like
happens.
this. Like, say Denim beats Azrael. Who goes on for Denim next? That's the real thing.
Yeah, and then what
Well,
happens to
what-
Azrael?
Denim
It's-
retires. It's just,
Yeah.
Denim's had enough.
He's done. See ya.
He's done. But
But yeah, it's going to make such great, compelling watching. And obviously, if you're new to the channel or you're new to the podcast, and obviously, please give it a watch if you want. You can watch loads of the recaps on our YouTube channel, which is just The Fallen Games. You can find us on there, or you can just follow us on our Twitch accounts, and everything is on there as well. But it's been an amazing journey. I'm so glad that we're doing it again, and that
definitely.
we're that it's all kind of going the way that it is. I mean, obviously, we could be a completely different conversation
yeah.
in 2 weeks' time when this comes out.
I
and we're
could have
like,
quit
oh
by then.
my God.
I could have
Yeah.
had enough by then.
Everything
Broken
is
controllers.
gone, yeah.
It's
all
a completely different universe now. It's
Yeah. But yeah, for me, I know it's given me a great opportunity to be creative, whether it's been like videos, promos, or stuff, or just like compiling things together. But what has AEW meant for you as a person?
I think it's brought us all back together. Like obviously, split apart by pandemic and things like that.
And pizza that fell over on a night out.
Oh, did we go in there?
Yeah, no, that's
I
not.
knew it's not
You
going
think
on.
right? You want to do that as a separate episode because we'll go there.
Yeah, Pizzagate. That'll be another one.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Sort of conspiracy footage of me in my car recording it. Like, but
Who really dropped the pizza?
Yeah.
We will find out tonight.
We'll never know.
one of you two. No.
Anyway,
No.
what did it mean to you?
So it's bringing us back together, and like you guys were streaming at that point anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like okay, now we're doing this, and then we branch out from there. Like we'll play something else or do. And it's just interacting with sort of Twitch audience and things like that. Like I'm not a performer. I'm not a showman. That's not who I am.
I've seen your promos, mate.
Yeah, I'm not in them.
Good.
You've seen a mask in my conservatory next to a
Hey,
cannon.
don't spoil it, man. Don't spoil it.
I've seen it.
Ruin the illusion.
But like that's who you two are. So it's interacting with that and going, actually, I can do this to some extent. I'm not trying to say like I'm better than you two by any
That
means.
sounds like what you
Sure.
said.
By all means. Well, maybe one of
He's
you.
the better Fortnite player, isn't he?
No. He's getting up there.
I've got the kills.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
I've got the kills.
He goes rogue.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's interacting. It's nice to see like you guys doing it as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And then going, okay, it's not an AEW day, let's have a look. And then, okay, there's people who followed because of AEW and now following you two and watching
Yeah.
and interacting as a result. So I think that means
Yeah.
I don't get anything out of it. But you know,
He loves it.
All right, man.
He loves
Jesus
it.
Christ.
What does it mean to you then,
Checks in the
Az?
post
Yeah. bounced.
Sounds
say.
like mine. Well, it's especially for me and Vice, it's building this, I guess, brand in a way.
Yeah, totally.
To
Yeah.
showcase stuff that we like doing, that we do. As Lewis said, bring us all together more. We were streaming and it was great, but now we're doing something which is more businessy in a sense. Where we can really get our ideas out and go from there. I love wrestling. I've always wanted to do something in wrestling, and things have gone down different paths before and it haven't turned out the way I wanted, and I haven't been able to do what I wanted. So I guess, I don't call myself, I would never say like, oh, this is, we know about the wrestling business because we do it.
Yeah, sure. Of course. No,
nothing, but this is what we want to do, and it's
how we make it work for us.
It works the way that we want to do it. It just makes me feel like, I'm not in the business, but I'm like, I can see stuff, and I can understand.
It scratches the itch that we have,
people,
isn't it?
Exactly. I can see what people are doing, and I can be like, right, that sounds good. Like, yeah. So, and it's just like, again, building the Fallen as well. This is what we're doing. This is what I want to do. So.
Yeah, and I don't think you could say any better than that, really. But guys, thank you so much. We are wrapping up right here. This is probably the longest episode, so thank you so much for sticking around. We really do appreciate it. I'm sure that there's more stuff we can talk with Smiz about. So thank you so much, Smiz, for being on the podcast. We appreciate you, mate.
That's quite right.
Anything to say before we wrap up?
Just Pizzagate. I'm sorry.
It's happening another day.
No. Stop. Quite checking this broadcasting. No, thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, mate.
It's been a pleasure, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Anything to say, Az, before we wrap up, mate?
I'll see you on Wednesday when I win my title.
All right, I wasn't going to be that person.
Oh wait, no, this will be out.
This will be out after, yeah.
I'm either champion now, or you probably won't hear from me again.
And that's undisputed.
If you see Azrael crying in the street, you'll know now why he is.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I'm just happy to be here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Again, please make sure that you subscribe and like this podcast, whether it's on Spotify or it's on Apple Podcasts. Give it a little rating. It helps the algorithm. Share it to your friends. Share it to your mum, your dad, to every single person that you know, because we'd really appreciate it. Whether you're new here or you're an existing member of The Fallen, thank you so much for being here. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at @the_Fallen_games. And you can follow me on my individual Twitch at twitch.tv/Vice_Wolfpack. That's all from me. You can follow me personally on Instagram at Callum_shortened. Az, your socials, take it away.
Oh, I just got it. Wow. Twitch.tv/Azrael_AAW. And Instagram is the same handle, Azrael_AAW.
Smiz, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, that's pretty much it. At Agent Smiz, pointless opinions.
We love it. But guys, thank you so much.
Pizzagate.
More Pizzagate, He's going to tweet it. He's going to live tweet it right now. No, guys, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, for listening. We really appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. Good evening.
Good evening.
And we'll see you real soon. Thank you.